Good evening. Thank you all for being here. Look at all of you. You look incredibly beautiful and so full of imagination and playfulness. It's the thing that makes me so happy. I hope you feel so welcome. I do. To all of you who helped me recover my lost pages, I am so grateful. Look around you. Is that magical? It's the perfect place for me to read a bit of the story that I've written down in this book. Thank you for being here just the way you are. I hope you enjoy it. As you know, whenever I make an album, I always write a book. Writing down things helps me say everything I want to say in the right way. Sometimes music is so emotional, and if I can write a book at the same time as I'm making my music, I feel like I can help my brain be a part of the music as well. So it's all the emotions from the heart, but also the thoughtfulness and the wisdom that sometimes comes with the mind. And to me, having both of them in my albums are very important. And this is a book that was born because of my very first album that is now 10 years ago. It was released into this world. And here is the first page. If I were a king, this album would be the heir to my throne. If I was a teacher, this album would be my first apprentice. And if I was a god, this album would be the first of words, and eventually, probably, they would become all too powerful and most likely interpreted wrongly. But thank God I'm none of those things. And this album is simply what it is. An album written long before I knew it was going to be one, which I find rather lovely. I began writing around the age of 6. I had no intentions with my writing besides the fact that it made me feel heavenly, and it made me feel like I had a purpose in life. It made me feel like grief and sadness and anger had a purpose, because they inspired different kinds of music than feelings of happiness and calm. I wrote purely because it made life seem meaningful, and I needed life to be meaningful. Because then meaning would live beyond love and hope, birth and growth, and shed its light on things like sadness and envy and grief and death. And sometimes writing music could make my sadness grow wings, and suddenly all the emotions my body harbored would leave me for a moment, whilst I stood on the ground and observed it. It made me feel like I could be larger than my sadness and bigger than my anxiousness. And if these heavy emotions could inspire and become something as beautiful as music, I felt like I could learn to appreciate them as much as I appreciate joy. I know all of us in this life, we can have a hard time accepting that sadness is a part of life, and that the things that make us feel less perfect and less worthy of love overpowers the people we really are as human beings. But I hope you know, all of you in here, that you are both the good and the bad, the dark and the light, that makes you human. And the fact that you are human, perfectly human, is the thing that makes you important in this world. This is from a chapter a bit later in the book, and I think many of you here might feel the same, so I want to read it to you. Something I didn't think about much when I was a child, but I've learned to appreciate later, is that when I was little, my parents never thought I was strange, and they never told me I was strange. When the world called me so, they always answered with, "Well, she is a child. It's her job to be a little strange." And I can't help but mention how much that might have helped me through the years. It's helped me to simply exist and not to overthink myself and my behavior, which I think is very important as a human. And to all parents with children out there who might fear they will be bullied, never let your fear for them intervene with the love you have for them. We all learn with time, and sadly, we also learn how to fit in, and some brilliant attributes might be lost in the process of it all. If I can tell you anything, I would tell you all to be. I would encourage your imagination and your childlikeness, and I would not be scared of the things that makes you different. It's the only purpose with humans, is that we are biologically designed to be completely individual. So I don't understand why the world keeps telling us that we have to look the same and be the same and act the same, when at no point ever was that the purpose of our kind. our purpose is the opposite of the thing that is troubling us all. It's not to be the same, but it's to be you. If you look around you, you see all these beautiful creatures around us. And you are beautiful creatures as well. And you know, I have a deep connection with a moth, the underappreciated bug that I find to be the most beautiful one in the whole world. As you know, butterflies are associated with sunlight. They often come around when the sun is there to warm your skin, and the transformation they symbolize is out in the open for the world to see, which makes it easy to notice and celebrate. The moth, on the other hand, is often overlooked and forgotten. Moths often come around during the night, and this nocturnal nature is associated with darkness and the moon and with the unknown. I know in many cultures the moth is also associated with death or the dead, because moths might be small messengers of the spirit world. Yes, the moth is more mysterious, and whatever process it symbolizes seems to me to be more internal and hidden, like many important things of this world that constantly goes unnoticed. Dull to most, I can't help but admire their persistence. They roam the night, and they always seem to hunt the light, even if it becomes the very trap that kills them. I always found this so beautiful, sad, but beautiful. How something so ordinary and small could be something so poetic. And that is why I always knew I wanted to be a moth on the cover of my first album, My First Child. To symbolize the process of feeling small and invisible, a little lost in the dark maybe, but relentless and poetic and lovable. It just takes the right eye to notice. An ordinary brown-winged moth might not be grand, but I know exactly who they are. They are beautiful not because the eye that observes them deems them to be beautiful, but simply because they are a perfect little creation. I can see beauty in them, and I think I can find beauty in myself. This would make it so much easier to live my life as myself, on my own terms. And you know, you cannot be bullied, and you cannot be harmed if you know who you are. It makes you untouchable, and it makes you strong. It's a very important thing to learn in life. And back then, I wrote a song dedicated to the moth and all people in the world who recognize themselves in the moth, beautiful but unnoticed. And I named it Nightcrawler. And in the book you can find it, but you have to hunt for this story on your own. Thank you for listening, and I wish for all of you the best on your journeys. Goodbye.